Welcome, everyone, to the first episode of Wednesday Night Weaboo. I am your host for this part of Systematic Ecology, just a little branching off. I'm Christian Ashley. I'm, of course, very happy to do this. This is something that I've been talking to Joshua behind the scenes about doing for a little bit, and now we're going to see how it works. So, essentially, what is this going to be? Well, I am going to be discussing and I'll just an overview of all the anime that I'm going to be watching in this upcoming summer 2023 season. There I go, off to a raging start with that wondrous voiceover there. And just going through like plot synopses of what I'm watching, some of the deeper themes I see as I'm exploring some of them, and just to have a fun time. Because I know there's a bit of our audience out there that's probably watching the same things I am, and they have no one else to talk to about it. So maybe hearing my insights on it would be very helpful to them, or, oh, I didn't catch that. Or maybe you guys can help me pick up on something that I never really got to get into, or I skipped over for some reason. Go, whoa, Christian, why don't you focus on this? This totally matters because, it's hinting at something that's going to be happening later. Yeah, I am all open to that. So please, if you guys feel led, just head on over to these streams. I'll be doing them live. I think the next one, if I'm looking at my calendar correctly, will be on the 12th of July, more than likely around the same time, 6-ish, because that way I think everything that I'm following will have aired at least one episode by that point in time. So the whole point being, let me get as much as possible on that first episode. This episode is just letting you know, why am I doing this? What am I covering? What I'm not covering? So let's move on to that, because that's super important. Because if there's something on here that I'm not covering that you guys would really like me to, I'm open to it. I had to pare it down because there's like almost 40 some anime at this point in time in this season, and that is a lot. And even with as much time as I have, I don't have that much time to devote to every single one of these all at once. So that's that. What am I not covering? Well, I'll be going alphabetical order here. So no real purpose behind that other than just to keep it straight in my own mind. Am I really the strongest? Well, I don't care. This is just another one of those, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my first impression was just that bad. Looking at this, for those of you who've been listening for a while, I'm a big isekai guy in the sense that I like the idea of an isekai. But I have seen very few that have actually made me happy with everything they followed up on. The way they've handled the characterization of women or the subject of slavery and all this other jazz. And this one looks like generic waifu simulator 2.0. Once again, maybe I'm wrong. Can't stand it. There's something else on this list that looks even worse. If I can remember the names, some of these, they're just the Japanese names. Next up will be Bang Dream. It's my go. This is an idol anime. I have not watched the original Bang Dream, so I will not be covering that in good conscience. Like, it wouldn't really make sense to just start in the middle of a season like that. Next up will be Bungo Stray Dogs season 5. I don't really get everyone's obsession with this. I watched season 4. I've watched everything up to there. It's like, you would think it'd be something I would like. It's one of those series. There's a lot of deep literary references there, with the power system, with character names, but it's just a giant, muddled, convoluted mess. And I know hypocritical humor at its finest for anyone who's read everything I've ever written. But I would hope I'm a lot better than this. And I just can't follow it. I forget character names. I'm already bad at that to begin with, but like, I just don't care about these people. So I won't be covering that. If that's something you really like, I'm not trying to put you down. I never want to be that way when it comes to interacting with someone else's fandom. It's not fun to do that. I mean, unless it's like something really insanely bad that we can both like say, man, this is trash, and we're both watching it, because there would be some trash I'm watching later on, I assure you. But yeah, that's where I'm at with that. Next up is Card Fight Vanguard Will Plus Dress Season 3. I have not watched any Card Fight Vanguard. The only card game series I've ever watched are the original Yu-Gi-Oh, Bits of GX, and I think all of 5Ds. So that's it for me. Not really interested in that. Next up of what I'm also not covering will be The Devil's a Part-Timer Season 2, the sequel. Now, I really enjoy the first season of The Devil is a Part-Timer. This reverse isekai kind of situation. He's got to find his way in the world. The hero's got to find her way in the world. They're both working these dead-end jobs. One at McDonald's kind of counterpart, McRonald's, and the other is like a call service or something like that. And the interactions are so much fun. And then the last season that came out happened, and it just dropped the ball completely. It's not fun. It's not good. I know some people still like it. I know what happens later on as far as how things get resolved because I don't care about spoilers. And I'm so glad I looked it up because I just don't want to be there for what the rest of the series has for me. It's not fun for me. So no more Devil's a Part-Timer. Next up is The Duke of Death and His Maid Season 2. Chances are, if I'm mentioning a Season 2, I haven't seen the first season. Same thing here. Haven't seen it. So sorry about that. Is what it is. Next is Ayu Koshitsu. I think this was an ecchi, and I'm not the biggest ecchi person in the world. It's one of those very infuriating things of, I mean, this is done purely for the sake of titillating instead of, establishing something in a story or anything else like that. Like, not say I'm against it always, but when I see it used like it has been used in the past, I can't handle it. So maybe I'll check out episode 1 just to see if it's actually any good. And if that's the case, I'll definitely add it to, the lineup and all that. I have no issue with that, but chances are that won't happen because I kind of know trash when I see it after having been an anime fan for so long. Yeah. Next up is Hyakusho Kizoku. Now, this sounds kind of interesting. It is done by Hiromu Arakawa, who is the mangaka of Full Metal Alchemist and Silver Spoon as well. And it's just kind of like these reflections, but it didn't sound like interesting enough to me to actually cover. So that's where I'm at with that. So moving on from that, we'll go to Level 1 Demon Lord and One Room Hero. This one just kind of looked bad. The premise of these losers just kind of hanging out with each other. I kind of have a bit of PTSD from earlier from Devil's a Part-Timer. So didn't look like fun to me. Next up is Liar Liar. That is also a bit of an ecchi series as well. And once again, I am not opposed to the idea of having fan service in a show. I am opposed to it being like, this is the only reason you losers are here, so just enjoy it. And this definitely seemed like something from what little I saw of the trailer and the like. It's like, nope, not into it, not looking into it. That's it for me. That was Liar Liar. Next up is Masamune Kun's Revenge R. Once again, have not seen the original season that came out, have not read the manga, anything like that, so I cannot in good conscience start with that. The Masterful Cat is depressed again today. This looked like it could be fun. Maybe a fluffier series, but at the end of the day, it just didn't have enough oomph behind it for me to like, yeah, I'll watch that. Next is Mononogatari Season 2. I saw the first couple episodes of the first season, was intrigued enough, but I kind of dropped it along the way. It just wasn't as fun as other things I was watching, so maybe it's good. I haven't really heard anybody talking about it, so if that's a sign of its quality, I don't really know. So that's that for that. Next up is The Most Heretical Last Boss Queen from Villainous to Savior. I almost added this to the list. Almost. This is now one of those, I've been isekai'd into the main evil person in this Atome game or what have you, and now things are going to happen, which could be fun. But I have 16 series that I'm covering, and I don't know about you, but that's a lot. maybe I can see through this whole thing because it's entirely experimental. Maybe I can handle more than 16 anime shows at once during a season, and I can continue to cover them. That may very well prove true along the way. So, if this is definitely something, if you guys were really interested in and you really wanted me to cover, I would be open to bringing it on to the outline and discussing what I thought of it. So, just let me know. Once again, if there's something on here you really want, and you say, why aren't you watching this? Suggest it to me. I am open to hearing what you guys want. Next up is probably my most controversial thing I'm not watching right now, and that's Mushoku Tensei 2, because I despise, speaking of ecchi and undue and too much ecchi, I despise the first season. I hate Rudius. He's one of the worst characters I've ever met in fiction. Uh, this is clearly written for other people. It's not written with me in mind. And, to each their own, I suppose, because I have friends who really love this. I am not one of those people, obviously. It's just not fun to me. It's one of those, it's one of the older isekai, if I remember correctly, that a lot of things took things from, which later on kind of, what's that trope of, oh, goodness gracious. It's not Deader than this guy, that's something else. It's, I can't remember. It's when, like, you've seen something, but you've seen something that is taken from something else, and you think, oh, this isn't new anymore. But originally, this thing was a lot newer. If you'd watched it first, you probably would have liked it more. Sometimes I definitely still wouldn't have liked this one, but it's where a lot of more modern isekai gets some of its tropes from. And I'm not a fan of the massively perverted hero, of excessive ecchi. Once again, ecchi okay, not the main focus. And I really can't stand the characters either. I mean, I kind of like Eris, maybe sometimes. It's infuriating, but I can't stand Mushoku Tensei. So, in good conscience, I cannot add that to my list either. Next is my Tiny Senpai. This is just one of those other ones. Clearly, someone saw, well, we had one in another anime season, so let's do that one, maybe. I'm not a fan of that genre, so forget about it. And here, I think this is the one I was talking about earlier, is that, was it my unique skill makes me OP even at level 1. The guy. And it's stuff like this that really make me upset as someone who wants to see the genre succeed. And this is what we get instead. This is some of the most generic character designing I have ever seen in my life. And the artwork, and let me preface this with, I'm not an artist. I can write well some days. I cannot draw for the life of me. So I do my best not to criticize art. This is art that deserves to be criticized. It is so cheap. It is so poorly done. It kind of makes me think this might be the X arm of this anime season. So we'll see. I have no interest whatsoever in covering this thing. I mean, it looks like trash, trash, trash. And speaking of trash, in defiance to James, for those of you who've been following our Manga Mustard series, I will not be following in here on Wednesday Night Weaboo Rent a Girlfriend Season 3. Speaking of characters I hate, what is his name? Kazuya? I cannot stand him. Like, incel of incels. Apparently he's gotten better along the way, but I don't care. I want nothing to do with this. I can't get behind the premise. I'm done. That's it. Next is Saint Cecilia and Pastor Lawrence. This looked like one of those, what's the word I want to use to describe this? Something that would probably offend me at some point in time, covering religion and something like that. So maybe I'm completely off base. And you say, Christian, you judge too quickly. I am open to being corrected. Never think that I'm just here as like, I am always right, because I am most definitely not. So if this actually turns out to be something good, let me know. And I will watch it and see if I want to add it. Next up is Spy Classroom Season 2. I watched the first season and was severely disappointed. a very interesting premise. Like, you can't fight wars anymore, and instead you just everything's done through spy work. Cool, got it. I'm in. And then we had supposedly characters doing things, and I'm like, who are you people? I don't care what you're doing. Like, maybe who's the redhead? Like, is it Greta or something like that? I kind of cared about her. Didn't care about their leader, their teacher. Uh, Lily didn't really care for her as our main character. Just wasn't fun. So no Spy Classroom season 2. Next is Sweet Reincarnation. This looks like this another spin-off idea for an isekai idea of, well, I've been transformed to this other world. Instead of actually doing something important like, fighting and protecting people, I'm just going to start my own little bakery or something like that. I think it was a premise. Not for me. You can have fluff like this. You can have stuff like this, and I'll follow you. Like, I do really love Ascendance of a Bookworm, for instance, and really hoping for, was it season 4? Whenever that gets announced, I'll be there. But no, this not doing it for me. And speaking of not doing it for me, Sugar Apple Fairy Tale Part 2. Haven't seen the first season. Wasn't really impressed with what I saw. I never finished it, but I started it and nah, not for me. Temple, same thing. I read a couple of chapters of the manga to see if maybe I could be interested in this, but it's just not fun to me. I'm sure other people will really like it. The next one is something I almost added to the list as well, but once again, just to pare things down to only do 16 instead of what it would have been about 18 to 20. This is Undead Murder Girl Forest. It seemed like a very interesting concept of going to like the supernatural is real, and just people having to handle that in their lives, and this murder mystery could have been fun, but ultimately I just decided I'd rather cover some of the other stuff here. And that's it. Oh, I skipped over one. My apologies. That was Reborn as a Vending Machine. Now I wandered the dungeon. I'm not watching this. Uh, for the show, I will give the first episode one chance because I have heard from other people for this stupid idea of whatever, whoever had this in their minds, that apparently it's okay. It's not the worst thing in the world, but like, guys, there's no creativity anymore, and it really kills me. It really kills me inside that this is the best we can hope for. Um, so yeah, that's it for that. Our last series that I will not be covering, so once again stressing not, is Watashi no Shiawase na Kekon. And this is just apparently a love story. Two people don't really know each other that well, get married, and that's it. Didn't look like my kind of thing, so I decided probably for the best. So, something you should all know is I reserve the right to stop watching any of the series from here on out that I mentioned that I'm choosing to cover at the beginning of the season, as they may end up being a waste of my time. Now, I think I have pretty good judgment. There's very few series I've started recently that I've been like, oh, well, I was a fool to do that. Or anything more than like, I'll give it an episode. And normally by the end of that episode, I'll know, okay, nope, I'm done. So if that happens, like, mea culpa. It's me. I made a mistake. I have no shame in admitting that because that's how things happen sometimes. Sometimes you think you got something and then you don't. So for series I will cover, and let me bring those up here onto the screen. I unfortunately am still learning how to use StreamYard correctly, so I cannot get these images to fit for the life of me without them looking like abominations. So I will be starting this season with Atelier Ryza, because once again, I'll be doing things alphabetically, not by when they're released or anything like that. So that's that. So Atelier Ryza, Ever Darkness and a Secret Hideout. Now, for those of you who've never played the games, this is an adaptation of the first game. I have played the first two. I recently learned the third one came out and no one told me. So I'm going to have to buy that at some point in time because I've never played any more Atelier games in the series outside of Ryza. But it's such a comfort game to me in many respects. It's so fun. Like, sure, there are stakes. There are still creatures out there trying to kill you when you're walking around gathering alchemy ingredients and stuff like that. But compared to other games, it's very chill. And once again, there are plenty of things. There are things out there trying to kill you. There are things that could definitely end the world, but you wouldn't know it in all the like the downtime you get and all the fun you can have, like meeting with your companions and talking to them, doing side quests, and just gathering ingredients across the world. Sometimes that's all you need. And Ryza, she is a really fun character. I enjoy this. So what I'll be doing for those of you uh, is I'll actually be reading some of the mal descriptions of most of these. So some of it, the names are reversed, so I may screw up for a second there because they're doing it in the Japanese way of writing instead of the English way. So, Atelier Ryza follows the story of Rysalind Stout, a girl living on Kirkin Island in search of adventure. She discovers an abandoned rowboat one summer day and sets out to the mainland with her friends Lint Marslink and Tao Mongarten. Along the way, Ryza meets the alchemist Impel Volmer and his companion Lila Decimus, which sets her on the path of learning alchemy and her intertwining adventures, and she soon discovers the truth about her home. This game blew me away with just how fun it was. It's definitely not going to be in my top 25 or 50 maybe anytime soon, but it's relaxing, it's fun, it's engaging. You got some great characters to work around. I love Ryza, Claudia, Lila, Impel, Tao, and goodness gracious, Lint are okay. They're fine. I love Boss. This is so fun. And I'm really looking forward to see how the anime adapts that. So I will be covering, obviously, I know what's going to happen unless they severely change some things, which, I mean, I guess they could if they really wanted to, but I don't really see the purpose for why. This is, like I said, a very chill, relaxing, fun series with some stakes along the way, but well worth your time. I'm definitely going to be covering it. Even though I've already played the game, I'm still interested to see how this gets adapted into an anime. Next up, number 2 will be Ayaka. Now, this one right here is, I believe, an anime original, maybe? It's either that or manga's fairly new. I'd have to look it up. So, Yukito Yanagi is an orphan who one day encounters an eccentric disciple of his father's. The strange man takes him to his birthplace on Ayakajima, made up of several islands where mysterious beings called Mitama and dragons are rumored to reside. There, Yukito meets his father's 2 other disciples who protect the harmony of Ayakajima, which soon threatens to collapse. This seems like something that may be right up my alley of a very supernatural focused series, maybe a battle series to an extent. I'm super into that idea. Really looking forward to it. I know next to nothing about this other than what I saw on Mal. So that's that. Next up, Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War. My Bleach fans out there, guys, we're getting closer to the end. This is the 1,000-Year Blood War, the separation. So we had that 12 to 13 episode season 2 anime seasons ago, I think. Yes. And now things are going to get even tougher. They're going to get even grimmer. And yet at the same time, it's going to be that Bleach goodness that we all really miss. I mean, at least I do. Especially it's in my top 100. I think it was like 68 or 69 on the list I put. It's probably gone down since then. But I love Bleach. I'm actually, for those interested, if you'd like to follow me on Twitter, I am at NKSCF2, and I'm going chapter by chapter, starting with the original couple of chapters of Bleach. I think as of today, I should be on chapter 4, and just going through some analysis on some stuff there, what I like, what I don't like, what I wish Kubo would have done better with, and just see, wow, this is where he started, and he's so much better later on. So if you're interested in that, at NKSCF2, it's Starving Writer Guild is my actual name on there. Let me know too when you follow, so I can follow you back. But for those of you who don't know what Bleach is, well, this is not the time to be getting into Bleach. Because there'd be a whole lot of that to explain to you, a whole lot you're not ready for, not your fault. This is like out of like 700 some chapters, maybe a little less than that. This is like in the 600s, so we're near the very end of Bleach, and it's worth it completely. To see where they're all at. Is it a perfect ending? No. There are things I would have done better. Characters would have focused on, but I think at that point in time, Kubo was really suffering from bad health, and as well, his editors were kind of on his butt for stuff. So he decided to end it where he did, which I do not begrudge him for that. And I'm glad he's back and helping to work on this because we've seen some anime original stuff as well that I'm sure he really wanted to focus on, but he wasn't able to get to. And it's so much better watching Bleach without a ton of filler. That is not fun for those of us who had to watch it on the original Toonami airing and who got tired of waiting for there and started watching it as it was releasing in Japan on very sketchy websites. So that's that. Next up, we have Dark Gathering. Yeah, this one. It's got those little spider lily flowers out there. I'm sure you've probably all seen it at one point in time. Oh, that means death, blah, blah, blah. So, Gentoga Keitaro is a college freshman who hates ghosts. Unluckily for him, he has a knack for attracting spirits. 2 years ago, this connection had led him to receiving a spiritual injury on his right hand, with his friend getting caught in the crossfire. The event caused him to become a shut-in, leaving him with very, very poor social skills. Fortunately, Keitaro is slowly starting to mingle with society thanks to the help of his childhood friend Eiko Hozuki. As part of his rehabilitation, Keitaro takes on a part-time job of a private tutor, and his first pupil is none other than Eiko's cousin Yayoi Hozuki. Besides being a child prodigy, there is another peculiarity regarding Yayoi. She has a spiritual constitution just like Keitaro. However, in contrast to Keitaro, she yearns to encounter spirits, hoping to find the ghost that took her mother away. As Keitaro is dragged along by Yayoi and Eiko to haunted spots, his part-time job seems to be straying further and further away from its original purpose. This sounds like it can be super fun. You got a nice bit of characterization between the 3Ds already just from what we have here of I've been hurt before versus someone like, oh, I see this in a wondrous light, and the friend that's trying to keep everything together. Like, I am all for that. It seems like it could definitely be super fun. Let's hope it stays that way. So next up on our docket is the Dreaming Boy is a realist. So this seems like it. I thought this was going to be a harem at first. I hope it doesn't turn out that way. So just the way they handle harem series sometimes in Japan, they really fumble the ball a lot. But we have Sajo Wataru, who is deeply in love with his beautiful classmate, Aika Natsukawa. I think I had that. Oh, it's Wataru Sajo this time around. The flipping around they have in these really kills me. Approaches her without getting discouraged while having dreams about their mutual love. However, one day he woke up thinking, I am not really fit to be together with someone as good as her, huh? Some of these descriptions kill me. Upon realizing this, Wataru started keeping an appropriate distance from her, much to Aika's surprise. Could it be that he hates me now? Did his intention slip by her because she was getting impatient after arriving at the wrong conclusion? This is the start of a rom-com revolving around two people who just can't get their feelings across and both think their love is unrequited. I'm not the biggest romance guy, but when it's done well, I'm in it to win it. As opposed to like Pang. Like I said, I'm not the biggest romance guy to begin with, but this is something I was willing to give a shot. It seems like we have some misunderstandings here that could definitely be something that grinds my gears. I could be very upset with, or it could be very cute. It seems like it's a fun series. The four girls seem like they're all friends from what I've heard. I'm looking forward to exploring that. Next up is the Gene of AI. This will be our 6th series. This science fiction omnibus depicting a doctor who treats robot and humanoid problems takes place in the near future, when humanoids with artificial intelligence account for 10% of the population. The main character, Dr. Sudo Hikaru, also has the undercover name Mogadit, under which he secretly takes on illegal medical procedures. For example, for a man who had inadvertently infected his humanoid wife with a computer virus when illegally backing up her data, Sudo proposes an operation to rewrite her memory using backup data. Could an existence replaced by backup data truly be said to be the same as it was before? This seems like something that is definitely right up my alley of exploring the future of how AI can interact with us, the cybernetics involved in becoming androids or cyborgs or what have you, and is there a soul left in that person? Uh, it seems almost very blackjackish in that regard. For those of you who are very familiar with Osamu Tezuka, goodness gracious, his work. So it seems like this is like not a random events plot, but like more case of the week. And sure, uh, I was not expecting anything out of this. I'm all for it. So that next up on our list, we have oh, this the first episode of this is actually aired already, and it was pretty fun. Genjutsu no Yohane Sunshine in the Mirror. This is a Love Live spinoff. I watched the original Love Live like a year ago, I think, and it was fun. It's just one of those laid back, kind of relaxed, cute girls doing cute girl things series. I've since watched the sequels as well. Of course, this is a spinoff of a spinoff where we get Yoshiko, or Yohane is her like Chunibyo name. Chunibyo being that person. It's that middle school syndrome is what people would call it, of someone acting like a child or acting out wild and fanciful things because they're not ready to grow up yet. And that's definitely her personality. But it seems this is just a fantasy world that her alternate counterpart inhabits. So is this her actually dreaming it up? Who knows? But let's go with this. Numazu is a scenic port town surrounded by the mountains and the sea. Yohane, a girl who has struggled to fit with her surroundings since childhood, spends her days avoiding people in the city. What I want to do, my true whereabouts, that is, walking with a girl that cannot be honest. In a mysterious world you are familiar with, another sun that has just appeared. That is such a weird way of describing this. I don't know who's in charge of that in Japan, or if that just like Google translated incorrectly on our side. But the first episode, pretty fun. I'm definitely glad I decided to watch this. Love Live is, like I said, just one of those relaxing, like, sure, like the worst thing that happens is, oh, we don't get to that audition or something like that. Well, now it's more of a magical nature in some sense of who's gaining powers here. What are these other girls doing in this alternate reality? Super fun. Like I said, first episode, pretty great. I'm looking forward to more. Next up on our docket, we have The Girl I Like Forgot Her Glasses. Now, I wouldn't have picked this one either, but I did have a Twitter follower who was kind of big on this idea, and I saw him posting about it, and to an extent, some of his feelings on stuff, and we kind of align outside of really trashy, ecchi isekai stuff. So, but this, when it comes to romance, he's normally spot on. And let's just go through the description. As the desk mate of Mie, I think that's Mie, who knows, Kaede Komura always has his attention fixed on her. Attracted by her cute charms, all he wishes for is that she would look at him with those beautiful eyes beneath her glasses. But just a few days after making her acquaintance, Kaede notices something strange about Ai. Her eyes are squinting and her glasses are missing. Nonetheless, he still finds her adorable. Unexpectedly, Ai has a tendency to forget her glasses. Having terrible vision, she has difficulty going through her day at school. Thankfully, Kaede is more than willing to help her. As Ai starts relying on him, Kaede's feelings for her grow even more. Likewise, despite her short-sightedness, Kaede slowly becomes the person Ai always hopes to see. This seems like a fun little rom-com. Nothing too great, nothing probably not going to be fighting each other or anything like that, or someone having supernatural powers, but just like, how can this relationship develop? Let's see how that goes. Sure, I'm in it to win it. Let's do it. I don't really have too much to say more beyond that. Next up on our docket, we have The Great Cleric. This is the 9th series that we will be covering. Oh boy. One day, Earth's god of destiny and Galdaria's chief god had a bet. The god of destiny lost and chose 10 mediocre souls to hand over. To those 10 souls, the chief god of Galdardia, goodness gracious, what a terrible name to say. Not a fan of that. Handed them new vessels. Among those mediocre souls was one salaryman who fought against his destiny of death. How will this man grow from now on? Not the god of destiny, nor the chief god of Galdardia, nor even the author themselves. No, I forgot about that part. That's not a good sign. I say as an author, like I have an end goal in mind. Things can change along the way if I find like, hey, my original idea was bad. I'm all for changing stuff like that. But to not having any idea at all, that really makes me question this series. But as opposed to the other ones of Isekai that we're getting this series, this actually looked like it had a lot of potential. Where it seems like our lone salarymen here, and for those who don't know what that means, salarymen are they're kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? I have office jobs and they work very long hours and they're being pushed to the brink by their bosses and doing overtime without getting paid. So that's typically you're going to see them be one of your pro tags for an isekai story because it really it's written with the Japanese mindset in mind, and they really resonate with that. So could be fun, could be terrible, might be one of the ones I drop really early on if it's just that bad. We'll see. Next up is something I am really looking forward to because I know I definitely saw a ton of discourse when this first received its anime announcement. I saw a lot of people saying, yes, finally. And normally I go, cool. But just the amount of wondrous nature I saw in people on Twitter, just like, yes, Helk is getting it. This is so good. It's like, okay, well, maybe it's actually good. Have not read the manga or webcomic or light novel, wherever it is from. But let's go into the description. While humanity celebrates the death of the Demon King by the hands of a lone hero, the denizens of the demon world prepare for the contest of a lifetime, a tournament to decide who would inherit the title of Demon King. Now, 3 months later, the tournament has been proceeding smoothly. Well, other than the fact that the favorite to come out on top is the human hero Helk. With a smile and a wave, he easily bests his demonic competition, all while loudly proclaiming his hatred for humans. Though he calls for the destruction of humanity, the truth of what lies behind his cheery facade remains a mystery. Doubtful of Helk's intentions, Red Vamirio, one of the 4 heavenly kings who oversee the realm of the demons together, seeks to uncover what the heroes truly after. With the title of Demon King at stake, the fate of the demon world rests on her shoulders. There have been a couple recent isekai and fantasy anime out there. This is not an isekai. I want to make that clear because sometimes it's very hard to tell. That have had the premise of, oh, the hero gets betrayed by the humans and he joins up with the demon side and all that mess. When I first heard that part, I was like, oh gosh, here we go again. But this seems like it could definitely be something with a lot of depth to it. To see what possible betrayal could have happened here to make Helk go down this road to actually try to become the demon lord instead after supposedly I think him being the hero who killed the last demon lord, if that's what I'm reading into this correctly. So there's that. Like I said, I know next to nothing about the series itself, but I'm very curious and I want to see where it goes from here. So that's it for Helk. Next up, we have Horimiya, The Missing Pieces. Now, for those of you who say, wait, Horimiya finished a while back. Yes, it did. But what it didn't do is, what it did do, I should say, is it skipped over a lot of chapters. So what this anime is doing is bringing it back and covering the stuff that got skipped over. I have not read the original webcomic, so I don't know what's going to happen. We know the end goal, of course, is they're together on the way to hopefully get married one day. But like, what happened in between? Because we skipped over a lot, apparently. I love Horimiya. It's not a perfect romance by any stretch of the imagination, but like I said, it's just fun to watch. I love the two of them working together. They're great foils for one another. I think they have a really good relationship. There's some issues, but what relationship doesn't? So that's it. Next up, something for those of you who are watching this can see, I am wearing a Jujutsu Kaisen shirt. And actually, I got complimented on it earlier today, so I was very happy about that. Because the second season is coming out, we are going to get to the Shibuya arc, and we get the backstory as well for some of the madness that had happened before. Yuji even comes on the board. Uh, I am so ready for this. I have been waiting for this ever since season 1 ended, because what happens in the manga after this is insane. And I know we're not going to get to everything because the manga itself is looking like it's going to end fairly soon. Some people are saying it could end before December, which I could see, but I don't know if I want that to happen. I want more. I want more of this world, and we're going to get that here. This is going to flesh out a lot of characters really well. This is going to give some really awesome fights. Same way Bleach as well is going to do. I should have mentioned that earlier. Like, we're going to get some fun out of these 2 seasons alone. Like, if I did not add these to my list of things I was covering, I'm a fool. Like, a Bleach, Jujutsu Kaisen. Yes, please watch these with me. It's going to be fun. Now, here's one that I was a little hesitant to put on the list because it sounded like this could be like that generic thing that just has a cast of characters that exist for the sake of being pretty or something, just completely. Sorry, I caught that in time, so hopefully that didn't get any audio there. It looks it looks like it could be bad. It also looks like it could be good. And I don't know how to put that in the words. So I'm giving it a chance. And that is, of course, the Reign of the Seven Spellblades. What's that about? Well, let me go into it. In the world of magic, there exist deadly, irreversible techniques commonly known as spellblades. These sparse and elusive spells, along with their casters, are shrouded in mystery, and only their absolute lethality is known to the masses. Every year, the spring blossom signifies a new intake of students to the prestigious magical school Kimberly. The magical school is named Kimberly. Sorry, I could not say that with a straight face. With reactions of awe and bewilderment, a ceremonious parade, complete with magical beasts, welcomes the newcomers to the institution. Among them is the mysterious Oliver Horn, whose indifference changes to fascination as he notices a peculiar figure, a girl wearing strange attire equipped with a Japanese sword, because of course. From the entrance ceremony onward, Oliver realizes that not all is as it seems at Kimberly, as the emergence of labyrinths, monsters, and other threats endanger the new student body. Now, that alone has some red flags for me, but also intrigues me. It intrigues me. Could this be absolute and utter gutter trash? Absolutely, it could. Could it actually turn out to be good? I have hope it will. Not a lot, mind you, but I do have some hope that Reign of the Seven Spellblades could actually be fun. So we'll see. Definitely could easily be one of the ones I drop real quickly, or could be something I really enjoy. Don't know. We'll see. Next up, we have another controversial decision I put on this list. Now I'll explain why for those of you who are unaware. And that's Rurouni Kenshin Meiji Kinkaku Romantan. For those of you who are unaware, the mangaka, the creator of Rurouni Kenshin, has come under fire, and rightly so, for the possession of child pornography. And that has sparked a debate in the fandom of, can we support this man and what comes as a result of his writing because of what he's done? And that's definitely a conversation we should be having. I'm glad people are talking about it, because it does not seem to me that he is repentant. I don't know if he's serving prison time right now or if he somehow got out. I'd have to look that up again. But it begs the question, can I in good conscience cover this? Well, I can, because through the means that I will be doing such matters, he will be not getting any of my money. So you can argue that's even worse. I will not put you down for that opinion, which I can see the justice behind that. So for me, I'm okay with watching it because I can divorce the author from their product if I have to. There are plenty of things out there I listen to and watch where I cannot disagree with you idiots more when it comes to your politics, when it comes to your faith or your lack of. But I like what you're doing with this other stuff. Like, you entertain me. You bring up historical facts I never would have thought of before if you weren't covering it. Like, and I would miss out on that if I just said, "Oh man, I don't like what these people have to offer." Like, is it a 1-to-1? Exactly no. So if you, in good conscience, come to this and say, "Christian, I cannot watch Rurouni Kenshin with you, even though from what I understand, it's going to be a complete story this time around because the original anime got canceled because of bad filler." I imagine that. I don't begrudge you that. I'd ask you to do the same to me. So, Christian, what is Rurouni Kenshin about? Well, 10 years have passed since the end of the Bakumatsu, an era of war that saw the uprising of citizens against the Tokugawa shogunate. The revolutionaries wanted to create a time of peace and a thriving country free from oppression. The new age of Meiji has come, and peace has not yet been achieved. Swords are banned, but people are still murdered in the streets. Orphans of war veterans are left with nowhere to go, while the government seems content to just line their pockets with money. One wandering samurai, Kenshin Himura, still works to make sure the values he fought for are worth the lives spent to bring about the new era. Once known as Hitokiri Batusai, he was feared as the most ruthless killer of all the revolutionaries. Now haunted by guilt, Kenshin has sworn never to kill again in atonement for the lives he took, and he may never know peace until killing is a thing of the past. Now in the 11th year of Meiji, Kenshin stumbles upon Kaoru Kamiya, owner and head instructor of a small dojo, being threatened to close its doors. The police force is powerless to stop the string of murders done in the name of her dojo by a man claiming to be the famous Batusai. Kenshin's wanderings pause for now as he joins Kaoru to clear both their names. But how long can he stay before his past catches up to him? Rurouni Kenshin is a really good series. It's not in my top 100 at this point in time. It gets worse along the way. Not to say it's bad. It's like when you go from really good to not as good, it kind of messes with your mind. So I'm really looking forward to this. I am hoping we get all of it animated because I've read the entire manga. And it is good. And it's definitely worth your time to read it or watch it or what have you. But once again, if in your conscience, if in your state of being, you say, "I cannot do this," I get it. You will not hear a single word from me that says, "Oh, how dare you have your convictions there." Well, I have convictions of my own in other regards. Like, it's fine. Next up on our list, 15, because we're almost done, is Sensuality Noir. The year is 2222. It has been years since Tears of the New Moon, a mysterious rain, poured and wiped out almost the entire human race. The poisonous rain gave birth to deformed creatures devouring humans, and humanity fled from the danger. As means for survival, the humans then build an underground haven, Amasia. In this newly built dystopian city, in a pursuit of maintaining their existence, they run into an artificial intelligence named Magus. Not knowing how things will work between them, the story of how humans and AI coinciding and trying to find their truths begin. I'm a sucker for stuff like this. You give me enough sci-fi, you give me enough intrigue and stuff like this, I'm in it. Is this going to be good? I couldn't tell you. I don't think this is a sequel to anything. I should have done my due diligence there, but if it is, I'll do what I can because this looks utterly fascinating and I really want to see what happens next. So they won me over with their description alone. The artwork looks pretty good. So who knows what the future holds. And with that, we come to our last series on the list. And that is, of course, Zom 100 Bucket List of the Dead. This is another one I saw where I noticed people were excited this was getting an anime adaptation. So sure. I'm struggling with myself for a moment because I can never remember if it's adaptation or adaptation. I'm probably wrong regardless, so feel free to correct me. I won't stop you. But what this is, let's go through the description. In a trash-filled apartment, 24-year-old Akira Tendo watches a zombie movie with lifeless, envious eyes. After spending 3 hard years at an exploitative corporation in Japan, imagine that, his spirit is broken. He can't even muster the courage to confess his feelings to his beautiful coworker Otori. Then one morning he stumbles upon his landlord eating lunch, which happens to be another tenant. The whole city swarming with zombies, and even though he's running for his life, Akira has never felt more alive. So what I understand the premise of this is in the midst of the zombie apocalypse, these group of characters comes together and they just start like a list. I never got to do this in life. And they start crossing them off and doing this and surviving zombie attacks. That's really a fun way to look at this. And I'm super interested to see where this goes. It sounds like it could be a really good, and there's a lot of people I know who are really behind this. So those are the 16 I'm covering. Like, let me know which of these are you going to be watching. Leave a comment below, leave us a like, leave us. You can share this as much as you want to get more people interested in this. I'm definitely doing this as soon as this releases on YouTube. I'll be sharing this on Twitter. If you want to follow me there, once again, that is at NKSCF2. And guys, I'm really looking forward to this. Thank you very much for listening, for watching this. And once again, just let me know what you want me to cover too, because I am open to being suggested of that. But remember one more important thing. We are all thy chosen people, a geekdom of priests.